Hello and welcome. SGDC. I am your game developing host, Skibby Danger, the Rearranger. Show your stuff. Uh, First up is Hjalte. Alright, what up, homies? I'm Hjalte. I make games, they come out like this. And also, I'm an artiste, you might not know. Because usually I'm a programmer, but sometimes in the past there have been no artists around, so I had to do my own art, like these ones, some random examples. And then I did a longer project, and I also did all the art, and I started to feel like, actually, this art shit is pretty fun. So I wanted to do more, I wanted to learn, and I started to read Matei's awesome resources, and I was kind of trying to draw things in real life, and I was having nice incremental progression, but that's very boring, and I need lots of 48-hour compressed stress to teach me anything. So I decided to do some game jams, and this was the first one I did. I did not know what I was doing, clearly, but I just tried to like copy my favorite artist, and then I eventually ended up with something kind of decent, and I just continued to do this. So I did this jam that ended up being a full game. Someone Scout by now, yeah, that's just kind of been my strategy. So go to game jam, ask to be the artist, ideally hand drawn, and I kind of been doing that for a bit, and I think I've been progressing well. And then one day I saw Shu also starting to do art and enjoying doing art, which of course made me incredibly mad because I am the only one who does art. And so I threatened him with that, and thankfully he was like, okay, and then he hired me on his game instead to do the art. So he doesn't get to do art anymore. I took that away from him. But he also hired a real artist, which made me mad. But then that was probably a good idea because these were my first attempts at trying to find the style of omelette you cook, and they're a mess. I didn't know what I was doing, so it was very nice to have Marek come in and kind of do some research and figure out what can this place look like. Maybe it's like a cafeteria. You have like a little shop guy. It was great, and also she can draw capsule art that I cannot draw like that. That is impossible. So, but with the sketches and stuff, I managed to do some mock-ups. And eventually the game started to look pretty nice, I think. And so basically the game we're making is like a crazy omelet making game, roguelike, Balatro-inspired omelet creation game where you create crazy omelets with crazy combos. And it's actually really fun. Like every time I open the Unity project, I end up playing for like 30 minutes, so I can recommend. And if that sounds interesting, we have it now on the next fest. You can download it and leave a review. If you're nice, it's in the showcase. Please check it out. Thank you. Questions? Yes.
So are you now both working on the art, or is it like you supposed to make pixel art and capsule art or something?
Oh, yeah, Marek basically does the capsule art, yeah. And I do the in-game stuff. Yes.
How many art have you done?
Several art. I think at least 12. Okay, thank you.
Hi. I'm Marianna, and we also have a game up on the next fest, got the 996. But also, I got really tired after like working on the demo, so I've been doing some journaling, and I just wanted to show you kind of like a video I did of like behind the scenes process of planning for Next Fest. And yeah, I'm like starting a YouTube. It's gonna be super serious, but this first video is a bit junk. But I'm gonna start journaling YouTube things. Yes, I'll show you a video. Turn off microphone here, right? Yeah. Boop. It's not. Should it do something when you turn it off?
Should have like a.
Yeah, I wanted to show you guys how we work together with our producer. Yeah. Any questions? Yes.
Were you trying to channel the adventurous spirit of Avatar the movie with that font choice at the very end?
Yes, I've been really tempted to use Papyrus on something, and like choosing fonts down the list. Yeah. Yes.
Are there any particular Steam pages, Steam demo pages you'd like to open up? Or
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Objection. Leading question.
leading into feedback.
Oh, it's here. Wow. How did I know?
Leading the witness.
Demo. Learn more. Whoa. Yeah. There's a new GIF you haven't seen before. Such a good GIF. Yes.
You said you're working on the demo for Next Fest. You had a demo out before, right?
Yeah.
So would you say there's any like major differences between the old demo and what you've done now? What would you say your biggest kind of changes without spoilers or?
Oh yeah. It's basically I have a little devlog up as well. Like we added like here. So it's basically like UI is very much upgraded from what it was before. It was just like shoop shoop, and now it's like a whole like 3D experience, I guess. And also item placements, we worked a lot on that, and basically we improved the core of our game so that anyone who would first encounter it at Steamfest would have a good impression and not get stuck right away. So they would like actually want to play the game in the future. Yeah. James.
Do you also plan to try to make like YouTube shorts out of your vlogs?
Yeah, probably. Like depending on what kind of content I have. Like I'm trying to like develop a whole like journal kind of very with like a very specific theme, and if I end up making it nice then I want to share more, but if I don't end up making it super nice then I want to share less, I think. It's like depending on how it turns out. Yeah.
Alright, back from the dead, Matt.
Hello. Yes, I'm back. I have arrived and left a bunch of times, and this time I'm here for 4 weeks. Yes, if I haven't talked to you before, I kind of go back and forth between here and London, but I'm from Australia. Anyway, I'm going to talk about the games. Here we go. So I'll just show Chronosphere a bit, but I'm going to be mainly talking about Australia.
J.P. Chenet, ett fylligt och smakrikt rött vin från södra Frankrike.
Alright. I should probably mute this. Yes, I'm working as a tech artist on this game with a team back in Australia. Top-down, turn-based shooter roguelike. Yeah, really interesting. It's not in Next Fest, but there is a like public beta to play it. But I'm going to talk mostly about my solo project, Monstrata, which is it's a micro-tactics monster game inspired by Pokemon and Into the Breach. So you and your opponent, it's like simultaneous turns. So you and your opponent choose your actions at the same time, and then they play out like red, blue, red, blue. So I'll kind of skip ahead a tiny bit. So there's an aspect of like predicting your opponent. So there's a move phase, you move into place, and then there's an action phase. And I'll just show a little bit more of it, because this is before I did all of the like the VFX work that I'm working on at the moment. So remember how, I don't know, kind of basic all of this looks. That's kind of my baseline. So the thing I've been working on the last couple of months is VFX. So first thing I did was I made these mock-up animations. So this isn't actually in game yet. I just made an animation first, which was much faster. Kind of testing out, the VFX, the acceleration, deceleration, screen shake, monster shake, and this idea of animating the monsters just using squash and stretch, and they're just one picture each, seeing if I can kind of get away with that. So this is one version, and then there's another one which is a mock-up of pushing them into a wall, which is kind of a common scenario in the game. And then I'll just show my kind of progress so far. It's kind of like half implemented so far. So yeah, I've got a bit of it in. I've got the new numbers. I've got a bit of shake. I've got a few of the VFX. Yeah, that's where it's at. So I'm here for 4 weeks, and I think my main goal is by the time I leave, I want to have the itch page like public. I don't think it's ready for a Steam page just yet, but yeah. And I'm gonna have it at playtesting tomorrow if you want to try it out. You can play it either solo against the AI, or I'll have a setup where you can play like 1v1 against somebody else. And yeah, that's it. Questions? James?
Did you consider splitting up the planning phase into two, so that you could also get the into the breach thing where you can see what the other player is considering doing with their first thingy when you make your first thingy, type of thing? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I kind of get what you mean. I suppose it's going in a bit of a different direction to Into the Breach. Like this is almost like Into the Breach where you're both playing as the enemies, because you can both get predicted. I suppose if you could see their first move, then at that point it's kind of like just a regular, like non-simultaneous tactics game, maybe, unless I don't quite understand fully. But no, I didn't really. I feel like the main thing that I'm going for with it is this kind of like mind game prediction thing, and I'm considering some sort of a single player like modifier, or like certain battles where you can see what they're going to do. But yeah, the main game is this kind of simultaneous turns. Any more questions? Danny?
How did you do the spinning thing?
Oh, the spinning. I'll bring it up again so we can just see. I might even. I'd have to scroll back here just to find it. But can we see it in here? Spinning. This one. Okay. So basically, I made this technique where. Okay. It looks kind of silly in a freeze frame. But basically, I made a technique that automatically turns a sprite into a 3D model. So it takes kind of, if you imagine two versions of the sprite like slapped together and then inflated like a balloon, that's what it does. And it looks kind of bad, but it kind of looks good enough if they're rotating quickly, which is kind of what I need it for. So yeah. Flan?
Is that ethical?
To inflate it like a balloon, like that. It survives. It comes. Look. See, it. There you go. Sorry, it's still okay. Yeah. Any more questions? Cool. Thank you.
All right. Next presentation is from our traders across the pond. Let's see here. Yonk.
You've been found out.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear us?
The background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you there. Okay, hi everyone. Hello.
Hello.
It's been so long. Okay, let me
Yeah, How are
share my
we
screen.
how are we gonna do
Yeah.
this?
I'll just share
Okay,
the presentation. Is it showing? I think it is. Yes. Okay.
good enough.
So yeah, hi. It's been 2 whole months, or I think.
So something
Yeah.
like that. Something like 2 months.
Something like that. But hi. So who are we? Because I know there's a bunch of new people in the house. Hi, we are Nate and Mauricio. Well, I'm Mauricio.
I'm Nate. We left here like when was that? Like December? No, start of January.
October. Yeah, we left in January.
So
We
we've
stayed
it's
in
been yeah,
October.
it's been 2 months. Okay, so
Yeah, okay, we're good.
yeah.
We're good on the timing, everyone.
We make narrative games, and when we were here in October, we were making a game called Who Done It,
Yeah.
and what we were using SGDC for was like basically weekly update, like keep us on the work grind. So this is actually our first presentation since we left Sweden, and we're back home. So it's kind of like continuing the trend
Yeah. Yeah,
post-mortem.
we were like, oh, we're gonna do this as soon as we get back. We've been tired, everyone, but updates. We're here
Yeah.
now. So,
What
who
is
done
Who Done
it?
It?
Yeah, what is Whodunit? For those who haven't heard of it, or like who don't know about it, it's an investigation visual novel about figuring out who the hell who you hooked up with at yesterday's party. We're making it with Renpai, and we started working on it the day we arrived at Spell. We have built it like from the ground up. It's a VN where you get to investigate this whole like areas and like find clues, talk to NPC like characters about it, and it's generally like a funny, fun story, and we're focusing a lot on making it feel cool and dynamic and
In around three
UI.
months, we almost finished our first demo build. We're kind of like in the home stretch with assets, but it's one of those things where it always feels incomplete. So we're still kind of
Yeah.
in that mindset. But
Yes. Um so January work recap. Um we got new sprites, we got new intro cutscene, we revised the writing for it. Nate did an awesome CG, and we just put that together, and now you can play the whole intro, and it looks cool.
yeah,
Um,
the intro cutscene it got a lot of work, and we thought a lot about it because it is the first scene of our game, and it's like a lot of things need to get introduced in a very small time frame, but we didn't want it to feel cramped. We wanted everything to feel natural. So, well, also just still feeling mature. So, it,
yeah.
it it's one of those things where it took a lot of iterations, but it was work well done. But at the same time, things kind of like we're not nearly as productive at home as we were in Spell. That's for sure. We
Yeah.
did work nearly every day the same way, but not really the same way, you know.
Yeah, we would call a lot, and like we did a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in the works, but we mostly spent a lot of time also just talking and like
Yeah,
hanging out. So
playing Elden Ring.
yeah, Elden Ring. Just like in our room. Anyways, though we did decide to participate in a month-long game jam in February because we were like, we're kind of slowing down Who Done It. We need a break. We need something to refresh us. So we did Addiction. Yeah,
Yeah. Um, really, it's really hard to see. Okay, when we were first making this, I thought it'd be really easy to say like, "Oh, yeah, it was a good experience. Like, we learned some stuff and that was great, but it ended up being a lot more than that, I think, and we weren't really expecting that as how to, like praise all that well. So it's just like my brain is
yeah.
still breaking daily. But it's people are very nice to us on the internet, and we're very proud of what we did.
Yeah, it feels like working on Addiction was also a scenario where like, okay, we have to build this story from the ground up. and we have to make all the assets. We have to make sure everything works well. But we had the constraint of like, oh, it's in 1 month, right? And it was very similar to our work from Whodunit. So it really felt like everything we learned while we were at Spell, and like what we learned about collaborating, like the two of us, and how our skills have grown. Like it really feels like the culmination of all of that in Addiction. So that was really fun. We really enjoyed the process of making it. And we now have a game that's out for Windows, Mac, Linux, and Android. You can play it on your phone, which is kind of crazy. Um, just, I don't know.
It
It's the
was
option is
weird.
there.
Yeah, it was weird to get the parallax stuff to work on a phone.
Oh yeah.
But it does work, kinda.
Yeah. And yeah, we got, like Nate mentioned, we got some good reception on the game. Oh, sorry. People have connected with it. It's been really nice. We were on the front of Itch for a while. It was cool. We feel very energized and very reassured. So
But the important bit is that we
we're
are ready
talking
to work
about
on Whodunit again.
yes.
So that's really
And
it.
we want to come back in late April, early May, because we want to be here for Midsummer Game Jam. And we miss you all and can't wait to hang out again. Heart emoji, heart emoji, heart emoji. Questions? Did we make it on time?
Probably not.
Fuck. Okay. So
I
yeah.
heard maybe 2 words.
So it is like the Game Jam game. It seems more serious. What is it about? Is that right?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, the topic
Yeah,
of
all
it.
right. So I would describe it as uh, it's it's a visual novel exploring what happens when
I can
it's so
describe it.
hard. Yeah,
I
please
can describe it.
go, please.
So Addiction is a game about a necromancer who brings back someone whose life has been riddled with pain. They bring them back to life. And it's about exploring the themes of like of death, of this power imbalance, of agency, of what do you choose to do with your life, how do you process death. And yeah, it's a complete 180 from Whodunit, but I think that is fun.
It is a very dark story, and not at all in the same genre, nor does it appeal to the same taste as Whodunit, but I think that's part of what is really fun about it for us to make.
But yeah, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for having us.
Yes, bye bye.
Sorry my audio is so messed up.
I think it's good.
See you.
See you soon then. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Hello. I am next. I'm not really good at making presentations that make sense. I'm not good at educating either. I do enjoy complaining, however, and like I'm more of a destroyer than I am a creator. And so I was trying out a game last Friday, Jordan's game. If he's here, yeah, yes. I've already confirmed that he's okay with me talking and giving some examples from his game that made me frustrated and angry. And so I just want to make like a really short presentation about what I think makes for shitty puzzles. And there's some examples from that game, but also know that that game was more of like some of this was just experiments and just like tests. So it wasn't like a complete puzzle game either. So it's like, yeah, so I don't judge it too hard, but it gave me some inspiration of some things that bothers me with other games. So I figured I'd just fucking do something. Then I forgot all my cool points. And then I just sat down and fucking wrote down whatever I could think of in 5 minutes. So it's not what I want it to be, but it's something. So this is less about how to make puzzles and more about how to not make puzzles. That was my initial intent, at least. Yes, I used the AI for the pictures because I'm lazy. My first thought about when you design puzzles, don't be a shitty dungeon master. A lot of puzzles, I feel like, are designed by where the player feels like they want to be the game developer wants to be the smart one and wants the player to feel like they're stupid. It's not about having the player be confused and having to figure out what the fuck is wrong with you to think of this type of puzzle. It's about making the player feel powerful and challenged, and hey, let them feel like they outsmarted you. That's the difficult part about being in Dungeon Master, creating a challenge for someone where the player feels like they're smarter than the person who created it. Don't confuse the player. An example of this, I know it's just an experiment, but some games do have that in their puzzle games. You made an example level where there's like a bunch of broken staircases, like you couldn't go down any of them. So you as a player would just go to a staircase and go like, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, none of them works, and you go like, okay. And then suddenly, you're somehow supposed to figure out, oh, I can walk through these walls for some fucking reason. It just breaks all the rules that the game has set up. And it's not clever, it's not fun, it's just like, okay. Another place where I also think like this is shit, similar to like Elden Ring. This is like the worst thing about Elden Ring to me. Especially when it's like a vital part of the game. If it's not a vital part of the game and it's just like fan service and like, yeah, they like this weird shit, even then I think it's shit. I hate it. Because I can't enjoy the rest of the game knowing that I'm gonna miss out on content because I didn't stand at a specific spot and hit the wall 10,000 times for it to open. It's not fun for me because it ruins the whole experience. It ruins the whole game for me. Don't confuse the player. So it's not about being like them understanding you as a developer to figure out what the puzzle is. Understanding the rules of the puzzle should be the easiest part of the puzzle. And then it's about applying those rules to figure out how to solve the puzzle. So don't make finding out what the rules of the puzzle is to be the hardest part of the puzzle. A good example for this is like The Witness. They have like a million different type of puzzle mechanics in that game with a bunch of different rule systems to them, but figuring out the rule system is both fun and it's super easy. So the first puzzle in each sequence of 5, I think to do 5 puzzles in each type, or at least, and then it's super easy. Anyone can fucking solve it, because it's not about solving the puzzle, it's about just figuring out the rules. And then we start using those rules to actually make fun puzzles. And not do both at the same time. Don't bore the player. Puzzles should be fun, exciting, new. Don't make it a chore. I think I solved like 8 puzzles in a row in the game that was the same fucking puzzle. Like, go here, move that block, go in. It's like, this is the same puzzle as the previous one, it's just in a different location. There was nothing new about it. It's just like, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. Sure, maybe it's make it new. Don't make it like a chore to have to continuously do them. Make it ramp up the difficulty a little bit, or change the perspective a little bit. It could be very much the very same puzzle, but it's just like you're looking at it from a different angle, and that makes you have to think about it differently, even though you're solving it the same way. Don't mix up the genres. Like, is it a puzzle game or is it a game about precision? Some people like to add both of these, and then I don't think always the genres mix very well. So like making it super stressful or making that you have to be very precise with it, and if you're not precise with it, you don't solve the puzzle. but at the same time, it would have solved the puzzle if you just changed, like, was slightly more accurate. But now you don't know if you failed the puzzle because it was the wrong solution or you were off half a second or whatever. It's like, yeah. And don't let the player sleep when you want them to sweat. Like, so in your dance example of a game, it had a ghost chasing you to, and the idea is there to make the player sweat a little bit. Like, oh, I have to finish this quickly, or like I have to be quick here and there. But in the game, you can just like, okay, I can just stand over here, wait for 10 seconds. Okay, now I can go down and do the puzzle easily. Like, what's the point of having the player being able to choose to stand still for 10 seconds? So if you're gonna have something to make them sweat and make them feel like, oh, make sure that the mechanic isn't beatable by just letting player cheat by having a boring time, because most likely they will. People will choose the path of least resistance, even if it means that they're gonna have a very boring time and they're just gonna blame the game for being boring and shit. And just some ideas for how, like, when you're trying to put puzzles into, I wasn't sure how to word this, to be honest, but into difficulty levels. It's like, to me, an easy puzzle is something that's very linear, like almost just one way to solve it. You figure out the rules. That this is mostly like the first puzzle in any sequence of 5 in the Witness. It's about figuring out the rules of the puzzle, and then it's basically just one way to solve it. Easy. Medium is like, you find a pattern and you just have to apply that pattern and boom, solved it. The hard one is where you have to almost see the future in order to solve it, because one move in the puzzle won't tell you whether or not you're going to succeed. It's a sequence of multiple moves that will tell you whether or not you're going to unlock the next part of the puzzle. So an example of this is Sudoku, I would say, where it's like an easy Sudoku is basically, there's just like, okay, I can only put 5 over here, so obviously 5 will be over here. After that, I can only put 2 over here, so obviously 2 will be, and then you can do that going around until you solve the Sudoku, right? While a medium Sudoku would be like, okay, there's some of them I have to do like, okay, here I have a choice. I could put 5 here or 5 here, but I could also put 2 here or 2 here. And depending on which one I pick of those 2, I will be able to unlock the next sequence. I would say that's a medium Sudoku, right? And then you have the hard Sudoku where you have to do this, but additional steps, right? Where you have to like find it in your head, like, okay, all these combinations together will make a suitable lock. Okay, this will work, and then you execute, type of thing. Yeah, that's it. Questions? I might not have answers. Hello, Matt.
When you're talking about, like, I guess, kind of execution skill and the place that has in puzzle games,
Yeah.
I guess, do you have an idea of kind of what the limit of that is? Like something like Portal has some sort of execution involved in it, but I feel like they try to keep it below some threshold.
I mean, sorry. Can you say it again? Like, what?
I guess when you talk about like the execution skill.
Yeah.
Involved,
Oh yeah.
Do you have like a kind of certain idea of the threshold at which that's kind of too much?
You mean like this one?
Yeah,
Like,
that
yeah.
one.
I mean, yeah. Portal is, I guess, a good example of this, but I think that in that case it works because it has good level design. Because usually it's obvious when the solution you're trying to make is not going to work, because you're never going to get the velocity you need to solve the puzzle that way, type of thing. So I think it's, if you're going to mix it up, make sure that you can't almost fail, or almost succeed rather. Make it obvious that, hey, if you're trying to do something, it's going to be really fail. It's similar to like platformers. the worst type of platformers in my mind is the ones where you have jumps that almost reaches. So you're gonna have players continuously doing some of the jumps, thinking that, oh, I could make it. I just need to be more frame perfect type of thing, and it's sort of like, no, it just won't work. Make it easy to see that you're never gonna be able to make this jump, type of thing. Then I think it works well. Obviously, that's very subjective, but yeah. But the more obvious you can make it, whether or not this is a viable solution or not, when it comes to that type of precision and experimentation, the better. Because I think most players will hate themselves, hate themselves for trying something for too long that just will never work.
You mentioned an example from Elden Ring where it's like, I don't know the example like what it is actually, but it said something like, oh, was your problem with it basically that it's impossible to come up with without doing something very stupid that you could
Yeah, I could be wrong with this, and then maybe Sam could correct me or Danny, because they know better than me. But there are certain dungeons where the boss of that dungeon is locked behind a illusion wall, and very little in the game. There might be some clues in some lore that points to this, and there might be some details around the wall that might help you, but for the most case, like I am pretty observant when I look at things. I do not see which walls I can hit. So in the end, I will go through a dungeon hitting every fucking wall because I know that some of the dungeons have illusion walls. And the worst part then is that the next step is, oh, but some of the dungeon walls, you can hit them 1,000 times to unlock them. For some fucking reason. Yeah.
So I guess my follow-up question then would be that, do you mind it as much if it's just something secret that you don't need to do? Or is it more about it being annoying because it's vital to progression?
I mind it if it's not visible. If it's like if it's just a meme thing. An example where I think it's passable is like Zelda. Like they clearly mark it. You can clearly see where you can, like, at least the later ones. Yeah. You can clearly see this is a wall I can bomb, type of thing. Sure, the older ones, they had secret bushes that you could set on fire and shit like that. Also fucking hell. But at least, like, hey, unless I'm very unobservant, I will see a wall and I go like, yep, I can bomb this shit, type of thing. Then I'm more okay with it. Or fucking give me a clue. Like, if Castlevania wasn't so shittily translated, that's a good example. Because it gives you the clues in form of NPCs telling rumors. But the problem is that it's so shittily translated that the clues are wrong.
You're talking about Simon's Quest.
Yeah, Simon's Quest, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if there was a block of text, but I can't read it from here.
Only comments, no questions.
Okay. Any other questions? Feel free, if you disagree with me in this and want to discuss it, feel free to hit me up. I like hating on shit. Alright, that's it for today. Thank you so much for showing up. Well, we have one offline as well, so but for the online people, you're done. We don't want you anymore. Goodbye.